So, you screwed up.
I'm trying not to cry. I've been doing pretty good so far. I was working at my first full-time job after graduation because, of course, you got to pay bills, you got to pay rent and all that other stuff. It showed me quickly the work-life balance. Really, we all trying to make money out here. You gotta make money, because how can you pay bills? How can you go out? I mean, like, everything is costing money. And now they're talking about this self-checkout at Walmart costing money. Like, it seems every little thing has a cost to it. They let me go last month, and I was just like I honestly and still don't know how to like cope with that. So yeah, after I lost that job, I've been filing for unemployment and food stamps. Then they get back to me and they're like, oh, you didn't earn enough wages to qualify for unemployment.
What?
What is good, YouTube family? It's your boy Rashad. We back again with the Black Anomaly Rising channel. So I got to talk to y'all about this college student. Okay, this girl says she went to, looks like Georgia Southern, I believe it says on her shirt. Okay, we're going to see in a second. We're going to go ahead and fact check that. But she apparently went to school, graduated, and things didn't work out as she intended. Okay, now this is very unfortunate. It's actually very commonplace. I somewhat went through this, but my degree was a pretty good degree. So, it was a degree in business and computer information systems. And, there was a lot of different things that I could do to make my degree work, get additional certifications and stuff like that, which I did. And it worked out really well for me because I put in the work even after I got my degree. Some other fields, you can't really do that. Like this person got their degree in film, which I know people who got degrees in film, and no offense, but most of them aren't really that great of degrees unless you go to very, very, very prestigious and specific schools. And even then, you got to connect with people that's going to really kind of put you in position to be successful. Okay. Now, a lot of people don't really know that because in college, they're still kind of treating you like you're a high schooler, right? Like they're still trying to teach you like basic English and social sciences and literatures and, regular science, biology, physics. They're not really going into, okay, here's how you really be successful in the world. Here's some real skills and how you're going to translate that over once you actually graduate, right? They're not really doing that. They're just kind of selling the degrees. It's really just a big scam. The government divvies out all these student loans. The colleges can afford to continue raising up tuition, and then the government gets paid back by greedy third-party banks and lenders who buy up the loans from the U.S. government, and it's really just a big cycle. Tuition goes up again, government divvies out more loans, tuition goes up again, and so forth. And then you got people like this who can't afford to pay their bills and don't know anything about the real world once they actually get out into it, or until they actually get out into it. And unfortunately, by then it's already too late. You're already anywhere between 40 to 100, in some cases well over 100K in debt. And that was back when I was in school. This day and age, it's probably way worse. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. And by the way, I graduated in 2011. So if it was bad for me, and by the way, I'm still paying off some of my student loans, then for some of these people, I'd imagine it's damn near hopeless. But anyway, let's get into it.
I want to say it wasn't a 9 to 5. It was longer than a 9 to 5. But it showed me quickly the work-life balance. Really, we all trying to make money out here. You gotta make money, because how can you pay bills? How can you go out? I mean, like, everything is costing money. And now they're talking about this self-checkout at Walmart costing money. Like, it seems every little thing has a cost to it. I don't like that. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm working there.
That's the thing that's key is, yes, everything does cost money, and I think a lot of people don't realize that because they're not paying anything. That's why a lot of the time when you see Democrats, they kind of target people like this because they don't really know anything about how the world actually works. They're just trying to do liberal indoctrination against them, have them thinking that they're the smart ones because they went to school and college. But in reality, when you're actually out here experiencing a lot more, have like literally 20, 30, 40, 50 plus additional years on somebody who's gotten some sort of degree, then yeah, you're gonna see things a lot differently.
Had to deal with kissing ass basically to make money, because it's like I need this job, you know, I need this job because I got bills to pay. And my friends will be trying to go out like some weekends, and it was a whole lot of like, no y'all, I can't make it, I got work. It was a whole lot of no's. Like I think I got some screenshots, it was crazy. And all the time they'd be like, dang, you know that job was working you to death. And I was like, I know. I literally was working almost every day. I would only get like 1 day off a week. Sometimes 2, but for the most part I was only getting 1 day off.
Well, I don't know exactly what the heck you was doing, and maybe she'll describe it, but I mean, this is why you could just, you know, apply for somewhere else and get a different job. Like, it's not like, I don't know what it is in America. I don't know if everybody thinks this, but I definitely see it in America where people feel like once they get a job, it's like, oh my gosh, this job is so ridiculous. It's so difficult. I'm working all the time and they're abusing me at this job. But it's like, yo, get a different job. Even in her field, like there's so many people that I know who are like really young. I'm talking like teenagers, and they got like these incredible jobs. like freaking Target was paying, I think like $15 an hour, and that was like years ago, like 10 years ago or something. And I'm out here in Georgia, so that could really get you really far. So it's like, I don't know where she lives at, but there's options. You got an option to move. You got an option to get additional jobs, additional training, additional licensure and certification. So it's not like there's nothing you can do.
And I wasn't even working like technically full time for real, but that's a whole nother story. That job scammed me. But anyway, I was putting in a lot of time only to be let go last month. So they told me basically I was fired March 14th, and I was just like, okay, what do I do now? And don't get me wrong, my plan...
I mean, was you fired or like laid off? Like if you're fired, then you weren't doing good. But if you're laid off, then they just couldn't keep you and maybe other people too. So did you do something wrong? Like I'm a little confused, and she's not going into detail about that yet.
So anyway, they let me go last month, and I was just like I honestly and still don't know how to like cope with that. Anyway, I'm trying not to cry, y'all. But yeah, that was tough.
I never understood
it still is tough.
Never understood people who feel like so bothered by stuff like this. Now, technically, I haven't been through this, but I have been laid off before, and I didn't like it. But I don't know. I certainly never cried about it, and I didn't do anything wrong. So I mean, if I don't know. I feel like maybe I feel worse if I knew, man, I really could have did X, Y, Z, and things would have been better. But I don't know.
Because I'm gonna get into that, because I was like, God, come on now, like you know we had a plan here. The plan is kind of falling short right now. What's happening? But honestly, I had been saying that I wanted to leave that job because it was not good for my mental health. Every day I was going in stressing, or I was leaving unhappy, and I was like, I can't do this. Like I gotta leave soon. And I guess God pressed fast forward on that process, because he didn't even give me the option to keep working there. He was just like, I'm gonna push you out. So I left there, and then I was trying to file for unemployment. And so yeah, after I lost that job, I've been filing for unemployment and food stamps. And the government, when it comes to like assistance, is so ass too, because as I was filing for unemployment, I'm filling out all my information, and then they get back to me and they're like, oh, you didn't earn enough wages to qualify for unemployment.
Not are you. What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
My SNAP's application too, and I haven't heard back from them. They normally don't get back to you until like months later. So I'm like, how can y'all really say that y'all giving assistance and y'all want to help the homeless and all of that, and it's hard to get any help
it's because these people are lying. Are you coming to grips with that yet, or are you gonna be one of those people who thinks that, well, no, the solution is put more money into these programs, put more money into hiring more staff, who's also not gonna do anything and also not gonna divvy out any money to people who actually need it. Instead, they're just gonna come up with more barriers and roadblocks, and the money's just gonna mysteriously disappear. And then guess what? A year or two later, hey, we need even more money for that program. That's how these people work. The government is just inefficient in general. Whenever it comes to giving them any additional money, any additional taxes, anything, period, that they say we need more money to handle this. Nope, negative, nada. I don't agree. I'm not giving any additional money because I already know that their issue is efficiency. It has nothing to do with money.
For real. You gotta bend over backwards to get any help. I see. So, don't have unemployment. I'm not getting money from that. Don't have food stamps. So, any little money I get, I'm having to pay for like groceries and bills still with no job. So I started applying for jobs here and then cities close to me. I barely have heard back from them for real. So yeah, I see the job market is pretty ass. I see now what everyone is talking about with like it's hard to get a job. And even after me graduating, even after me getting a degree, most of the jobs that I'm actually interested with, like box office stuff and front of house management and director work, most of those jobs now, okay, they want you to have a degree, but do you have 4 to 5 years of experience? Have you used this software? And the software is kind of like very private. Only the companies have this software, and there's no guide on it. There's no training classes on this software. But it's like, yeah, you gotta have experience with this software, and then we need you to have experience doing this, this, and that.
Yeah, I mean, they want somebody who is skilled. I mean, this is the thing about the world in general. You gotta have the skills to pay the bills. Okay, I'm sure y'all's heard the same before. The thing about college that a lot of people don't get, and I don't even blame the girl for this, okay? I don't blame her for this. Like, so this video is not supposed to be me like clowning her or disrespecting her, but the thing is, people are not being taught properly. They're just being taught basically, hey, you need to go to school for something, and they go to school for something, and then it amounts to a whole lot of nothing. As a matter of fact, the degrees value has gone down over time, whereas the cost of it has gone up, right? So the return on investment, it just gets lower and lower and lower as time passes, and it doesn't make any sense to continue down this same path that so many schools are pushing, like especially like the whole baby boomer generation, you know, because around their time it might have made sense, but in this day and age it's making less and less sense, especially if you're not going to like medical or like law or IT, engineering, like one of those types of fields, then you might as well forget it. All of this, well, I'm more interested in XYZ, it don't matter. You got to go in something where you know is proven success. Otherwise, you're hosed. And not to mention, if you're going to something so specific, then you better get to know somebody or something, because you're going to be in trouble if you don't have a lot of skill, dedicate a lot of personal time on your own. And really, that's it. Because those degrees, honestly, a lot of those film degrees, a lot of degrees, and a lot of people may be mad at this, but a lot of those degrees like journalism and like film and freaking anthropology and psychology and stuff, by itself, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't really do anything. You got to get like master's degrees, and even that a lot of the time doesn't help people.
Well, how could I have that experience when I've been in college? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like with my post-grad depression, it's not coming from me being out of college. It's coming from feeling like I didn't do enough. Like, even though I did 4 years of college, even though I have a degree, a bachelor's degree at that, even with all of that, the world is still saying you're not doing enough. America is still saying you're not doing enough.
Well, this is one of the messages, and I want this to be a takeaway for any, especially for any women that's watching this, especially for any women that look like her, a black woman who's watching this, because I know that's this big thing, and a lot of people just love, well, if stuff's not going in your favor, oh, I guess I need to get more degrees. That's not the answer. The answer is to be as skilled as possible, not to be as papered up with degrees as possible. Okay. Now it depends on what field you're in, right? You got to actually pay attention to what the heck's going on in the world and the industry that you're trying to be in. You got to really revolve your life around it. Like it's if you're trying to do something in film, you really got to change your whole lifestyle. All this stuff she's talking about in terms of friends wanting to party and all of this stuff, you ain't got time for that. You really need to focus and buckle down. And then if you can get a really good position and get a really good momentum going, then you can kind of find time in between to maybe party with them or whatever. But if you're on the struggle bus, then yeah, you need to be working and grinding and figuring something out. But it's like having a YouTube channel, for example. You can't just be lollygagging and having fun. You really got to buckle down and focus and figure out how to make it work. Right? It's the same thing for really anything if you're serious about it. Otherwise, if you're just if it's just supposed to be like a job and it's like this cozy thing, you just kick your feet up on the desk and chill out and relax, then I don't know. It's going to be hard to find jobs like that because even I would say starting out, nobody's like that. You really build up so much experience that it becomes easier over time. But toward the beginning, I say for almost everybody, it's going to be pretty difficult, and you're going to have to work really hard. And the college degree isn't where the buck stops. And I think that's kind of this thing people see as like this big finish line. It is a milestone to be proud of, but it's really just the beginning.
So that's very frustrating for me because I felt like all throughout life, y'all, hold on, we gotta cut the cameras because tears can't be coming. But I felt like all throughout life, I had been hit with, okay, you accomplished this, congratulations. You're still not doing everything that we wanted. You missed some things. I felt like through every accomplishment, it was always still something that I was lacking. And that's hard. That's pretty tough. Anyway, gain composure. It has been rough. This unemployment life is not for the weak, I tell you that. Because I've been having to get up and do Instacart and Uber Eats and all that just to like have groceries for the day or just to be able to pay my gas.
Well, look, just for those who are really young, my age demographics for this video is definitely not young, but for anybody who happens to be young watching this video, that stuff wasn't even around. Like Uber wasn't even around. When did that come out? Like 10 years ago or something like that? Same for Instacart. So if you was unemployed back in the day, then you was going to be hitting up freaking Craigslist or something or mowing people's lawns or something like that. Like you was really freaking in trouble. You was going to be sweeping somebody's floor at some small business working under the table or something. So these days you could just go online and hop on Uber and still make some money. Man, y'all don't realize how good y'all got it.
Ugh.
So guys, the moral of the story here is that the college 4-year degree, though it can get you somewhere, it can give you a competitive advantage versus competitors, obviously, who don't have it. It is a massive investment. It costs at minimum tens of thousands of dollars, and it may or may not be worth it depending on what your degree is. Okay, so you got to make a very good strategic decision, and in some cases, it may not be worth getting your 4-year degree at all. Like, for example, if you don't want to work in any of those fields I mentioned earlier, like the legal field, medical, IT, engineering, right? You don't want to do any of that, then you might just want to just skip a college degree entirely and go into like trades or something, like things that people are always going to need that there actually is a shortage of, such as HVAC technicians, electricians, right? Like any of the things that you see people like construction workers, people that actually like put like houses and buildings together, like architects and stuff like that. For some of that stuff, you may need a degree in still, but to just get started and get a lot of money, you do not need a 4-year degree or any associates or anything like that. So it's something else to think about. There's all kinds of options where you don't basically need to always do the same thing that they're always telling people. Because as you can see, this girl went to school totally unprepared, even in 2024, for what the real world had in store for her, where they're basically asking for people with skills and experience, and at least skills, even if she couldn't bring a whole lot of experience, at least having that skill could have gave her the competitive advantage. But it sounds to me like she really doesn't have that much of skills that people want. Like, she might be skilled in her mind and to her, according to her school, but if it's not skills that people want, then you're totally hosed, and your degree, unfortunately, doesn't amount to much besides a glorified piece of paper, albeit a very expensive one, but just a piece of paper nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
Sometimes patience is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. Then you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing.